Hey everyone, welcome to the Get Your Life Together Girl podcast, the blueprint to ultimate self-love and inner peace. I'm your host, Danielle Vann. As a cognitive behavioral therapist, a life coach to women, meditation teacher, and author, I've spent my life studying and learning from the stories that make us human. It's my passion and goal to help you shift your mindset and create a lifelong revolution to help you reach your greatest potential. Let me ask you a question. What do you see when you stand in the mirror? Do you like the way you look? Do you take immediate notice of your perceived flaws and begin to feel upset with what is before you? Body image is not merely superficial. It can be so intense, in fact, that it dysregulates your emotional well-being, mental and physical health, and creates a storm so big that you struggle to find balance, self-love, and inner peace. So today we're taking a one-on-one deep dive into loving ourselves from the outside in. We're unpacking the one mistake that most women make when it comes to loving their physical form, and I guarantee it's different than you might think. We're also going to talk about how to change the relationship with yourself so that you can elevate your life. This deep dive is filled with big aha moments, and it is the blueprint to stop being at war with your body. The Get Your Life Together Girl podcast starts right now. Okay, ladies, it's time to talk. And I do mean seriously, sit down, let's chat. Raise your hand if you are 100% happy with your body. I mean, like you love every single bump, curve, wrinkle, freckle, every little nuance of you. I'm going to be completely upfront and honest with you right now. My hand is not raised. Don't we all have that one or more elements of us that we wish we could change? For me, I spent an absorbent amount of years hating my thighs. But that's a story we'll get to in just a moment. But you may be thinking, okay, Danielle, how does this apply to anything we normally talk about? Mindfulness, thought processes, mental health, getting our lives together, inner peace. And my dear friend, every one of those elements is involved with how you see yourself, with your self-perception. If you see yourself in the mirror and trash the magnificence, the wonderful form before you, your thought process tanks, your mental health suffers, and getting your life together feels like an ultimate lost cause. Because loving yourself is never done in segments, meaning I love this about me, I like this about me, but I hate all of this other stuff. You can never reach full self-love if you like this but hate that. When we think about our lives, it's best to think of it from the form of a whole body, mind, and soul approach. Mind being the brain and your thoughts. Body, of course, being your physical self and your emotional being. And your soul, the spiritual side of you, the true authentic side. And when the three are all in harmony, the mind, body, and soul, life feels balanced, right? We feel like we're moving in a positive direction. Yet when there's a disconnect, things can feel, really hard, or that everything is an uphill battle, or why is everything around me so wonderful, but yet that wonderfulness doesn't touch me? We all know that negative feeling, right? When we're out of alignment. But for just a moment, let's lean into the alignment part just a bit deeper, a little bit more, because we said life feels balanced. We're moving in a positive direction. But what it also does is it allows us to have a new perspective on life. When we are connected mind, body, and soul, we live courageously. We live through a mindset of possibility and new perspective. It's grounded, it's beautiful, it's open. And to reiterate what I just said, how you see your physical form plays a role in all of that. If you don't feel positive about your experience, don't worry. You're not alone. I just told you my hand wasn't up, right? And so it's important to know that you are not standing on the outskirts by yourself. In fact, a recent study showed that 55% of women have at least one element of their body, at least, right? Just one element of their body in which they are dissatisfied with. And therapy sessions around body dysmorphia disorder have greatly risen over the last few years. I myself have seen an uptick of women showing up, not really realizing that they're battling with an eating disorder or that they've pushed to the side that they have a true hatred for their body. And all of that brings me back to the biggest mistake I see when it comes to self-love and the physical form. I made you that promise that I said we're going to reveal the one mistake that most women make. So are you ready? We're doing it right off the top, right? Because it's so important to understand that this is the element, this is the thing that rocks us so hardcore when we talk about our physical form, about exercise, about taking care of the physical body. So this is light bulb number 1. Are you ready? The biggest mistake women make when it comes to their bodies is we try to change the facts, so what's before us in the mirror, instead of changing the thought process, the thoughts about what is before us. Sit with that for just a moment. I bet you've done this. I'm going to say it again. The biggest mistake women make when it comes to their bodies is we try to change the facts, what we see in the mirror, instead of changing the thoughts about what we see in front of us. Think about it. We spend hours working out, hitting the pavement running, spin class, yoga, all the things, but still stand in the mirror and find dissatisfaction. We hustle, and yet things don't feel like they change. How we see ourselves in this manner isn't so much about showing up. We talk about that all the time. Are you showing up? Instead, in this manner, how we see ourselves is more through our thoughts, how we feel and what we think we see. Have you ever watched any of those larger than life shows? If you're outside of the United States, you may not know these shows, or maybe you do. But in the U.S., we have 2 shows that come to mind, and one is called 1,000-Pound Sisters, and the other is My 600-Pound Life. I'm sure there are quite a few others, but these 2 are the ones that really stand out. And these shows basically document obese people during their weight loss journey. In each of these shows, what's so important to point out is the emphasis on changing the mindset during the weight loss journey. Those that seek therapy and do the mindset work, the thought process changing, really find themselves able to maintain their weight loss after they have surgery, or they go through the process of naturally losing weight. And those that don't do the therapy, don't do the mindset work, often rebound and gain more weight than they had prior to starting their journey. This never surprises me, but I think it's really lost on a lot of people that our thoughts impact our body, not only emotionally, but they also impact us physically. Now, it doesn't matter if you feel like you need to lose weight or release the old tapes from childhood that's playing in your head, or you just don't have a really strong body image. We absolutely can change our self-perception by changing the mindset, the thought process. Now, I said the tapes that play in your head, the childhood tapes. I'm going to give you an example of what that is from my own life. So, the women on one side of my family carry all, and I do mean all, of their weight in their legs, which of course now we know is healthier than in the stomach. But when I was growing up, someone close to me in my family, I'm not going to throw them under the bus by naming them, that's just wrong, but someone close to me would often point out that they thought there was something wrong with me. Those weren't their exact words, of course, but they would often compare their legs to my legs. And this person doesn't carry their weight in their legs. Instead, they had beautiful legs. They were thin. They were the exact thing that I wanted. And this person carried their weight in their stomach, but it never occurred to me to do a comparison like, oh, well, you carry weight in your stomach and I don't, right? But I want to point this out too, because this is so important. This is where the tape began. But I'm thin, right? I'm 5'4", I weigh about 113 pounds. I'm just not a big human. And for so many years, so many wasted years, I thought I had fat thighs. I thought because of the comparison with this person that their legs were slender and long and perfect, that I had fat, ugly, overwhelming, disgusting thighs. I then thought that I was fat in general. And let me tell you, beyond the time of being pregnant with my 3 children, I haven't really weighed more than I weigh right now. So, but still, that tape constantly played of this person telling me that their legs were beautiful and mine were not. I could not see the truth. I couldn't see that I have muscular legs, that I have athletic legs, that I have a runner's shape. The other truth is this person always had a habit of comparing me against them in some odd frame of competition that honestly should have never been present. However, it was, but I still owned their words, not only mentally, not only emotionally, but physically too. I worked out all of the time. I spent so much time trying to get thinner legs and nothing worked. The more exercise I do, the bigger my legs get. That's just my makeup. It's the way my legs work. And it took me what feels like a lifetime to get down to the truth, that it was my mindset. That old story I was used to hearing and the thought process it created that was causing my belief. I owned something that didn't belong to me. While I loved myself, I didn't fully love myself because in the back of my mind, these damn thighs were still an issue, right? It took me a really long time and taking the journey I'm about to take you on that made the story dissipate and the truth, the reality of my thighs, of my body, come to front and center. There's something in what I just said that really is aha moment number 2. And it is this. If you can find reasons to not love your body right now, you will 100% create different reasons to dislike or hate it later, right? If you don't change your mindset, you can do all of the leg exercises and still hate your legs. Get it? It all comes back to the thoughts. So let's change the thought process. Let's change the mindset, shall we? In fact, let's go all in. All right, so you have a body, right? You have thoughts about your body. Your body does not have thoughts about itself. Think about that. Your body doesn't have thoughts about itself. Your mind has thoughts, and your emotional body steps forward and offers a feeling that matches that thought. Let me give you a couple examples. Think about what it feels like to say, I love my hair right now, right? Good feelings come, they arise around the love that you're offering to your hair and to yourself. But on the contrary, on the flip side of that, if you said, I hate my stomach right now, negative feelings are going to rise, right? We use the word hate. And for most of us, hate is a negative emotion, right? So maybe it's shame that comes up or guilt from over-consuming or blame of yourself. Either way, you get it. You have a thought, a feeling matches it, and together your thoughts and feelings compound, and they create strong neuropathways, aka the brain patterns I'm always talking about. And they tell your mind that this statement, I hate my stomach, I love my hair, are true. The more you practice it, the more it becomes ingrained. And before you know it, my friend, that is your belief. Of course, it may not trip off your tongue in the same way as I hate my stomach. It may sound like I'm fat, or I feel gross, or I hate the way I look. The more negative thoughts you practice, the greater the scarcity mindset you create. Scarcity meaning I am not enough. I'm not beautiful. I don't look like her. I'm not pretty enough. I have the fat thighs, right? I have fat arms, a fat stomach, whatever it is that you've been telling yourself that story. To change your relationship with your body, you have to double down on some heavy truths. And the first step in all of this is to assess your mindset. What is your relationship with your body right now? So grab a pen. I have a bit of homework for you. All right. And you can do these aloud if you want to, or in your mind. But really, of course, like anything that I teach, grabbing a pen and putting your answer on paper is definitely more helpful because we remember what we're writing when we do that, right? So the first question is, what do I think about my body? Write out your answers. Be unfiltered with it. Root down. You aren't turning this in, right? So just go ahead and tell the truth. What do you think about your body? What do you love? What do you want to change? And then really take a look. Is the change column far greater? Is it heavier with facts, quote unquote, air quotes facts? Or is the love category far greater? Let's really take a look at where you are. And when you're finished with that, the question that comes up next is, are your thoughts about your body truly born from your mindset, from your thoughts? The reason I told you the story about my thighs is because so many of us have similar stories in our background. If you have a story like this, the thoughts are not born from you. Instead, they were given to you and you adopted them. So here again, I'm going to ask you, are these thoughts your truth? Did they come from you or did they belong to someone else? Number 3, if your body could talk, what would it say about the way you treat it? Would it be happy? Or would it say that you trash its greatness because of the way you think about it, the way you use it, the way that you eat or exercise, or whatever it might be? What would your body say? And number 4, how would you rate your relationship with your body on a scale from 1 to 10? 10 being there's nothing at all that you could change. You are completely happy. You love your body. And of course, number 1 on that scale would be that your self-worth and confidence is non-existent. So write it out. Get down to just the facts, right? You've heard me say that so many times. Getting down to the facts means we remove the emotion. So you don't say, I feel, we say, I know, or this is the truth. And when you are ready, here's aha, number 3. Your relationship with your body is your thoughts about your body. I'll say that one more time as well. Your relationship with your body is your thoughts about your body. What you just wrote or what you mentally ran through in your head is the relationship. That is how you feel about you. Now tell me, is that a relationship of scarcity or is it a relationship of self-love? A scarcity relationship sounds like, I wish my body looked different. I wish I had her body. I'll dress nice or take care of my body after I lose weight. I wish I looked like the women on social media. If you've heard me talk about thoughts and emotions before, you may have heard me talk about moving your thoughts from negatives to neutrals, right? Sometimes it's not possible for us to take our very negative mindset and immediately snap our fingers and get to positives. In fact, it's extremely difficult for the mind to make that leap. But to truly have a positive thought, we have to change that negative narrative into a neutral first. So neutral thoughts about your body sound like, I have a body, right? I'm a human being. I have arms, legs, fingers, toes, whatever your truth, those are neutral thoughts. A positive mindset about your body sounds like, I love my body. My body is imperfectly perfect. I love how my legs look. I love how my arms look. I love where my body is today. Whether the thought you have about your body is positive, neutral, or in scarcity, it really depends on how it feels when you say the thought or you feel the thought. So if you feel good, it's a positive thought. Like, I love my legs, right? Or if it feels bad, I hate my legs. It's scarcity. If there's no feeling, it's neutral. Now let's take a moment really to chat about a positive body mindset, right? Because you can say whatever you want to. You can try all the affirmations. You can stand in the mirror for hours and just say, I'm going to love myself. I'm going to love myself. But if you don't believe those words, they're just words. I know you may have heard me say that before, but it is so prevalent in this moment. So let's go deeper because there is some good news in that understanding, right? So if you can think about anything, that means that you actually have the ability to change the neuropathway and create a new pattern, right? So I'm thinking before, I hate my thighs. Now I say, I love my legs. They carry me through so much, right? So I changed the thought process from a negative to a new neuropositive pathway. Of course, you can practice those positive thoughts until you believe them, right? And when it clicks, when it settles, that is when we begin to rewire the thought process. Now, let's talk about some ways to change your relationship with your body so you're not constantly at war. And that means that we're changing the process both mindfully and actively leaning into emotional regulation that is all centered around mind, body, and soul connection. Now, as always, some of these suggestions are going to be easier to embrace than others. You know, healing and mindset work and therapy, it's never one size fits all. But before we get into the full swing of this movement, this journey we're taking together, I want you to remember that we live in an appearance-focused world. Thanks to social media, magazines, the sexualization of literally just about everything, we are inundated with images of, quote, beautiful people, right? Truly, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But if you make comparisons of your life and yourself to this flood of images, it's really hard to live in a healthy mindset and have a healthy relationship with yourself and your body. Let's get to how we change this inner narrative, to change our mindset, to change this war, right? This war with ourselves. So the first thing that we have to do is challenge that inner dialogue, just like I said, that inner narrative. Remember those loops, those thought cycles that pop up and really aren't ours. We have to begin to root them out and ask ourselves some fundamental questions. We do that by actually telling the story. So for me, back to the fat thighs, it wasn't necessarily that the person said, you have fat thighs. It was, look at my legs. Aren't my legs beautiful? Not bad for my age, right? And that created the narrative of what beautiful legs look like. It became my job to challenge it. Is it that I don't have beautiful legs, or is it that I don't have legs like hers? So tell your story. What is it that is in that story that is causing you to trip up? Is it the truth? Is it that you're not beautiful? Or is it that you're holding your body and your outside appearance to a standard that doesn't belong to you? Is it that you're not beautiful, or is it that you've spent so long telling yourself this lie that now you see it as your truth? Break down the story. It's here that most women will utter, I don't know. I don't know what the story is. But my dear, you do know what the story is. You do know what you feel like and what you say to yourself when you're having an off day, when you're having a bad day. And on the contrary of that, you do know what it feels like to have days that you look at yourself and you're feeling it, right? You feel yourself. Oh, I look good today, right? Oh, I love the way this dress fits. Or, these pants, oh man, I'm looking really good. You know what those positive thoughts feel like when they're directed at yourself, and you know what it feels like to trash your body. And here's another aha. If you were constantly in a state that you believed every negative narrative about yourself, you would not have those little flashes of feeling good, of owning it, right? So root out the story, understand where it came from, challenge it, and break it down. Is it your truth? Next, I want you to reflect on your beliefs and your values. Here's the deal. Most of us were told to not judge a book by its cover when we were growing up, right? How many of you were told that. I know I was. But then we were also told to value our appearance and to value the appearance of other people as we saw them on television shows, on magazine covers, in all of these different places. We see it now on social media. These two pieces of learning directly conflict each other. Don't judge, but judge. If you don't care about what you wear, you're a slob. If you care too much, you're vain. In the end, you have a choice, and only you have this choice to decide how much time, focus, and care you will spend on your appearance. Remember, this is the relationship with you, through you, about you, to you, not to anyone else. Other people are going to say what they want to say. This is how are you thinking, feeling, and talking about you. So go back to that original thought. What do I value? What do I believe is good for me when it comes to my body, my image, and my self-value? Living in our values means embracing our own and other people's bodies as they are, right? I see me as I am. My thighs are different than that person before me, but they are mine. I see you and I value that your body is shaped differently than mine. It's about infusing positive thought processes, which of course means we're going to have a positive emotional experience too. For some women, it's easier for them to appreciate the bodies of others, right, than it is for them to appreciate what they love or like about themselves. And so if this is you, I want you to step out of the comparison realm and move into the value of likeness. If you appreciate someone's beautiful blonde hair and you have hair that is blonde, can't you honor this beauty about yourself? We don't have to compare here, but instead honor what we find beautiful in someone else. In this motion, we think of the value as an aspect, right? So like the blonde hair is an aspect of that person. If you catch yourself comparing, please remember that everyone naturally has different bodies. Some people have larger bodies and some people have thinner bodies. Some people have black hair, brown hair, red hair. All of these different aspects add up to the singular movement of that person. There's no other you. And so how can you compare yourself with someone who doesn't have the same DNA makeup, who doesn't have the same structure, doesn't have the makeup of you? You can't. If you spend so much time and energy, especially mental and emotional energy, focusing on appearance, being at war with your body, you lose so much time that could be spent in building something beautiful for yourself. The next thing that we can do to really stop being at war with ourselves is move into practicing body gratitude. If you've listened to this podcast or are a member of the Women's Circle or you follow me on Instagram or anywhere really, you know that I believe gratitude practices are essential to our overall happiness and life satisfaction, which of course you must be in alignment for an overall or full satisfaction, status in your life, right? But when it comes to gratitude, it isn't limited to the outside things in our lives. It can also be self-driven. This is an aha moment, right, along the way in this journey that we're taking. Because oftentimes we say, oh, I'm grateful for my loved one or this house or this thing. But we rarely say self-driven gratitude statements or feel self-driven gratitude. Now, admittedly, this may be actually the hardest part of self-love or self-acceptance in this journey. But let me ask you this. What would happen if you started focusing on the parts of yourself that you do enjoy, that you do like, that you do love? What would happen if you looked in the mirror and felt gratitude instead of criticism? Where do we start with this? Where do we move from that critical inner voice emerging into our thoughts and changing it? Well, we start with listening, right? We start listening to what's happening within. And the minute one of those thoughts that emerge that sounds like I wish, I am not, or I am, that is framed in a negative, You then verbally reply to that thought with something that is in a neutral or a positive frame. So, I love my fill in the blank, right? It's really getting down to the truth and meeting the negative with a positive. Therefore, you can practice the gratitude. It seems really difficult. It does take practice, but in the end, it's actually a very simple practice. It just takes time. And for most people, your critical inner voice can actually be easily distracted. So it may feel strange at first when that thought comes up, I hate my thighs. And you say, actually, I love my thighs. I'm so grateful that it helps me run the marathon, right? It may feel unnatural, but after time, we begin to really use this practice to our benefit. And again, I keep using the word practice, which is the indication to you that this is a movement that builds upon itself. Now, for others who, your inner voice isn't easily tamed, it may be easiest for you to create a list of your body that you do like or that you appreciate. Something that naturally comes to you that you say, oh, I do like my shoulders, or I like my long fingers, or whatever it might be. It's quieting that inner voice by getting to the truth of what you do actually care about within and about yourself. So spend some time thinking about that and creating a list of your physical features that you can, put that list to good use. So when you are really demolishing your worth, you can bring that out and say, no, actually, not the truth. I do like this piece of myself. And you're going to want to aim to make this your daily practice until you begin to see and feel more positives about your body and about yourself than the negatives entering your mind. Now let's switch gears out of gratitude and let's talk and focus on functionality. So body functionality is a term used to describe the many physical features and aspects of your body. So like breathing, sleeping, walking, singing, dancing, engaging with others. It's really anything that your body can do, not so much the physical body itself. So the functionality part. And although many people feel dissatisfied with their bodies or at war with them, they really begin to understand that their body is actually a very magnificent energy being because we can breathe, because we can walk, we can sing, we can do all of these actions. We can really give, pause and good positive feeling toward our body functionality by taking a few moments and writing and reflecting about it. So take 20 minutes to write as many statements about your body functions that you have gratitude towards or that makes your body unique, right? So this, again, is a writing exercise. So an example of one sentence might be, I appreciate the ability to fill my lungs with deep breath. Or I appreciate my legs that have carried me through tough times. You get it. Make the list about the way that your body serves you. The point of making this list is that you can refer back to it when you need a positive boost. When you're feeling bad, you can have this list readily available that says, nope, this is my truth and this is my truth. I honor this, I honor that, I am this, I am that. And of course, when we read those things, if we can shift out of the negative and get into the neutral, or even shift out of the neutral into positive, what are we doing? We're feeding our mental and emotional well-being. Now let's circle back to the very beginning of this conversation where I said how you speak to yourself is your relationship with your body. The mass majority of us were given mixed messages about eating and exercise during our childhood, which of course now leaves us with mixed up thoughts and unmatched understanding of why we exercise, why we should be eating certain things to make us feel good, why we should be moving our bodies and taking care of ourselves in that mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, and again, as always, financial standpoint, but also focusing and targeting good positive thoughts on the mind, body, and soul. And with all of those mixed messages, it really is time to reframe your ideas around exercise and diet. Most of us were taught that exercise is the only pathway to an ideal weight, other than not eating too much. And that narrative, of course, has shifted. But here, I want you to just pause for just a moment. While that narrative has shifted, that does not mean that your mind and all of your prior beliefs have. There is another aha moment, right? Sit in it for just a hot second. I'm going to say it one more time. Just because the narrative around diet and exercise has shifted does not mean that your mind and all of your prior beliefs have. I want you to understand that our beliefs change with active thought, connection, and action. Habit and belief here have sort of the same formula, you see. Habit is doing something repetitively. Belief is something that you practice repeatedly, right? This is why people say habitual thoughts. You get it now? Okay, back to reframing your thoughts around exercise and eating. If you go for a run because it's a punishment for eating all of the cookies earlier in the day, think about the frame of mind you're starting the run off with, right? If you are thinking about all of the cookies and it's a punishment, you're starting the run in a negative. I have to punish myself. I have to work all of this off. That's not going to make you feel well. It's not going to help you emotionally, and it's going to continue to help support the war that you have with your body. Now, if you went out for a run because you know it keeps your heart healthy, it maintains your ideal weight, and it makes you feel good, guess what? You've framed that run in a positive. Same outcome physically, remember, because your body is going to gain the benefit, but mentally, not so much. Emotionally, absolutely not. Think about what happens in the negative. Mentally, you're going to be thinking, did I burn enough calories? Am I able to stop now? Or do I need to run another 4 miles? Emotionally, you're going to say, I'm so stupid. Why did I eat all those cookies? On the flip side of that, when you're starting out with the good intentions, it's going to be yes, I feel great. I killed that run. Happy chemicals are going to flood your body. Your mental and emotional health are all about alignment with the body. So you have to redefine the frame. We have to work on what is called approach goals or approach mindset. Now, there are so many long theories surrounding approach goals or approach mindset. So I'm going to boil them all down for you into one single sentence. So write it down. It is, why am I doing what I am doing? That is the approach mindset. If you approach something in a negative, your overall body image, your self-love, your inner peace, the quality of thoughts, of course, they're not going to serve you. The only way to make anything sustainable is to have a gain from it, right? Think about when you start to exercise and you don't immediately lose the weight. If you can't get yourself over the hump, over the milestone where the first pound comes off, it's likely that you will not keep to it. You have to have a return. There has to be, a reward. There's measurable results. So some days you don't want to go for that run. I know I don't. But if you always do it anyway, guess what? You still receive the long-term health benefits, the longevity, and it doesn't feel like a punishment. Now, here is the big kicker, right? And the kicker is something that nearly every single woman who has ever worked with me has heard. When you are, experiencing negative emotions, one of the fastest cures is to move the energy, which means to move the body. I will always say, let your mind focus on what you're doing and get up. Do not sit in your negativity. Get up and move your body, whether that means that you go for a very short walk, you decide to do the laundry, you do the dishes, I don't care what it is, move your body. Here's why. You're moving the energy. When you are focusing on something else, it clears the mind from the negativity, and you're able then to focus on rooting down what's going on. You get into a place that you're able to really hear what is happening within the thought process and get to a different place. Plus, you actually break that rumination in the mind, which can flood your body with negative thought processes. And this is really important. That thought process can make you feel like the outside is not good enough, and the outside can make you feel like the inside's not good enough. And it's a vicious, nasty cycle. And doesn't this speak to everything I said in the very beginning? The reason why so many people try to change how they feel about their bodies and fail is because they don't change the thought about their bodies. So many people feel a certain way about themselves, but they just try to change the self and not the thought. Again, we cannot try to change the outside while leaving the inside untouched. It's also important for me to say that I do not believe any of us need to love our bodies every second of every single day. We're not going to. There will be times that we don't feel our best, and therefore we don't like the outside. I'm talking about really shifting the overall or overarching majority of the time where we are really struggling with the outside appearance. We're at war with ourselves. So do you have to be happy 100% of the time? No, that's not what I'm asking for. I'm asking you to get to a place where you value and respect yourself, value and respect your physical appearance, value and respect what your body can do for you. These are really the beginning how-tos, right? To create a different personal connection with yourself and to really get into a place that you can love yourself the best way possible. It seems simple, but it does take time and it does take work to root out all of the overwhelming trash that you've piled up for so long. Because remember, one negative thought taking shape can become your truth, and that truth then can own other truths. And again, we just tank. Accepting your body is all about the thought. Accepting your body is self-love. Accepting your physical self is about your peace. There may be flaws and issues with your body, but guess what? They are teachers, just like our lessons. They are the things that give us strength. They help us see that we can have confidence regardless of whatever limits we've placed on ourselves. Loving yourself comes down to self-acceptance. Loving your physical appearance is about your thought process. Now, I want to give you a list of things that, really wraps up everything together and gives you a bit more focused thought on ways to stop being at war. So let's go through that list quickly. Number 1, think of your body as the vehicle to your dreams. I know you don't want to ride around in a busted car, right? So honor it, respect it, fuel it. Number 2, create a list of all the things your body lets you do. It lets you run the marathon. It lets you go to yoga. It lets you walk your dog. Create that list and read it out loud often. Number 3, give yourself some grace. Some days we don't feel our best. We don't look our best. We don't really show up in our best self or our best frame of mind. So give yourself some grace, give yourself some gratitude for your mind, your heart, your body, your soul, and honor what your body does for you every day. Pull that list out and just give yourself some grace. Don't think that this is a step backwards, but instead just realize, hey, you know what? Today is a day that I don't feel my best, and I'm going to allow it to be, and that's okay. What we have going on within us, the outer conversation, is often seen before it is felt, right? So there are times where you can feel yourself walking with your head down. You're looking at the ground. Your arms are folded. You are really trying to make yourself small. You have to stop. Walk with your head high. Even if it doesn't feel natural for the moment, it's so necessary because not only does this build confidence, it signals to the brain that there's action to be taken. It helps us feel alert, less resistant, and allows us to be far more aware. Number 5, ask yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing? Ask this question before you engage in any activity that is going to either go against or support your physical body. Really lean in, right? Number 6, don't let your weight or your shape keep you from the activities that you want to do or that you enjoy. Not engaging in your life because of a current number on a scale or a wrinkle on your face is a slow death of the soul. Don't do it. Number 7, practice gratitude. Count your blessings, not your blemishes. Number 8, think about all the things you could accomplish with the time and energy you spend really trashing yourself or worrying about your body and your appearance. And then, when you know that list of things that you could be doing, try one. It's really that simple. Number 9, if none of these settle with you, consider the fact that your skin regenerates itself once a month. Your stomach lining regenerates itself every 5 days. Your liver every 6 weeks, and your bones, your skeleton, every 3 months. Your body is extraordinary. Doesn't that alone allow you to give it some respect, some appreciation? I mean, it should. And then hopefully that will give you just that inkling to give yourself some grace to change the conversation. Number 10, every night before you fall asleep, tell your body how much you appreciate what it allowed you to do throughout the day. There is someone out there right now that is wishing that they could do what you can do. So don't take it for granted. Number 11, find what works for you when it comes to feeling healthy and strong. Really allow yourself to explore different options. Maybe it is running or walking or kickboxing or Tai Chi. Whatever it is, research it and move into action. Number 12, build on that body positive love list that we had at the very beginning and update it often, right? What do I love about me? And the last one, number 13, create a personal mantra. When I personally was doing this work around my thighs and releasing that old story, that unnecessary story, my mantra at the time was, life is too short to waste it on hating my body. So if that mantra lands for you, use it. If it doesn't, create a new one. I have to tell you, the war with your body is really a war with your thoughts. It's a war with the invisible tapes that play in your head. It's time to take your life back. It's time to focus on changing your thoughts, improving your mental health, really diving into your emotional well-being and making your physical health just as important. When we're doing the healing work, when we're doing heavy lifting, when it comes to changing our lives, our physical self generally gets pushed to the side. But I hope now that you see how important it is that you'll take action. Challenge yourself, my dear, because in the end, you will be so amazed and really proud of yourself of what occurs in the thought process when you change the narrative. And you do deserve to change the narrative. And it is an essential step into getting your life together, girl. Thank you so much for listening to the Get Your Life Together Girl podcast. If you've enjoyed these tips for bettering your life, please share this episode with a friend or family member, as doing so helps us spread the word to other people who need it. If you're seeking daily inspiration and tools and tips, you can follow me on social media at Get Your Life Together Girl on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. And of course, you can visit the show notes, my blog, or the vast offerings at GetYourLifeTogetherGirl.com. Until next time, be kind to yourself and others.